Hello, my name is Sarah Cover, and I'm one of the program managers with Heart Math Tutoring. Let's have some fun with math. Today, we're going to learn how to play large handfuls, which is from our counting notebook, and the purpose of this activity is to practice keeping track of unorganized piles and then counting to figure out how many. For this activity, you will need a sheet of paper, a pencil or a pen, 60 small objects such as dried beans, M&Ms, or even beads, like I'll be using, plus a bowl. So please take a moment to pause the video and gather your materials, and I'll meet you back here. Welcome back. We are now going to learn how to play large handfuls. So I have my bowl with my beads here, ready to start the activity. However, there's one more thing I want to do, and that is create a recording sheet so I can keep track of the beads as I count them. So when I'm going to be pulling out piles of beads, and each time I'm first going to make an estimate or a guess of how many I pulled out. And so that's what I'm going to put first on my recording sheet. And so estimate is spelled E-S-T-I-M-A-T-E. And again, this is just the mathematical word for guess. And then in my second column, I'm going to record what the actual number of beads is. So I'll make my estimate, and then I'll count them, and I'll determine the actual number. So that's A-C-T-U-A-L. So I have two numbers that I record for each turn. And I know I'm going to play this 5 times, so I'm going to go ahead and number my recording sheet to 5 in order to better keep track of my turns. All right, so I'm going to put this to the side for the moment. And next I'm going to pull out 2 large handfuls of beads. Okay. So here are my beads. And now the first thing I'm going to do again is to make my estimate or my guess. And so of how many I think there are all together. And so just looking at it, I think I have 40 beads. So under estimate on my recording sheet, I'll write 40. And now I'm going to count them to determine the actual amount. And I'm going to use safe counting, which means I'll count 1 bead at a time and make sure not to skip any other beads. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. All right, so the actual number of beads I have is 24. So on my recording sheet under actual, I'll write 24. Was my estimate or my guess close to my actual total? Well, my estimate was 40, so I don't think that was very close to my actual number. I'll try to make a closer estimate on my next turn. All right, so now I'm going to do those exact same steps. For my beads back, I'm going to take 2 handfuls, and then I'll first make an estimate of how many I think I have. Okay, I think I have 22 beads here. So under estimate, under my second turn, I'll write 22. And then again, I'll count them one by one, both piles all together, to figure out my actual amount. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. All right. So my actual is 21. And so I'll write that next to under my actual, next to my estimate. Was my estimate closer this time? Definitely, it definitely was. And so I think that means just the more practice I do with estimating and then counting actual piles, the better my estimates will become. All right, so I'm going to go and finish my turns, and you go ahead and you do 5 turns, remembering always to make an estimate first, and then counting carefully to determine the actual. And then I'll meet you back here. Welcome back. So I finished my 5 handfuls with first making my estimate and then counting carefully to determine the actual amount. And this was really great practice for me for estimating the quantities in different piles. All right, so now for the next part of this activity, we're going to practice grouping because sometimes organizing objects into groups helps when you're counting. Okay, so first I'm going to take 3 handfuls and I'm going to keep them all together. This will just help me control how many beads I'm pulling out. All right, so I have them all together. So next I'm just going to count to see how many I have. Of course, counting one by one or using safe counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So I have 29 beads. So I'm going to write that down so I don't forget, because we're just going to refer to that number as we go along. So I counted 29 beads. Okay. Now we're going to organize our beads into groups of 2. Okay, so I have my beads organized into groups of 2, and then I have them spaced far enough apart so I can see which group is which, and I don't confuse them or count them together. And I also have this single bead over here because I don't want to forget this one when I count. And now you may know how to count by 2s, because what we're going to do is we're going to count this pile again to see if after organizing it into groups of 2 we get the same amount that we counted when we count it by 1s, which was 29. And you may know how to count by 2s, such as 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and so on. And if you do, go ahead and count by 2s and don't forget any single beads you have. However, if you don't know, you can follow along with me, and I'm just going to count by 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Did we end up with the same amount as when we counted by 1s? That's right, we did. When we counted by 1s, we came up with 29. And then this time, after grouping in 2s, we still had 29. And notice that when I counted, I made sure to keep track of which group I had counted, so that way I didn't count anyone again. So let's try to group it another way. This time, we're going to put our beads into groups of 5, because I want to see if having the groups of 5, if I'll still have the same amount after I count them. Okay, so I have my beads in groups of 5, and again I have these 4 extras over here, and I just don't want to forget about them when I count. Now you may know how to count by 5s, so 5, 10, 15, 20. But in case you don't, again, you can follow with me, and I'll just count by 1s, because all we want to do is to see if, after grouping our beads into 5s, we'll end up with the same amount as when we counted by 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Is that the same amount we counted before? Well, yes, it is. All right, so I'm going to put my beads back together, and I wonder if I organize my beads into groups of 10 and count, will I still have the same amount as when I counted by 1s? What I noticed from doing my other handfuls is that the total number of beads in my pile doesn't change no matter if I count by 1s or if I group it into 2s and 5s, and therefore probably also into 10s. Each time I still end up with the same amount. And that's pretty cool. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pull out a new handful of beads and try it one more time. I especially like giving myself extra practice at counting by 2s and 5s and maybe even 10s. It's your turn to practice as well. Go ahead and pull out 3 handfuls of whatever object you have and count. Practice counting by 1s and then also by 2s, 5s, and 10s. Organize the beads to match whatever you're counting by and check to see if your total amount changes or whether it stays the same. All right, so I hope you had fun practicing with your handfuls and practicing counting in different sorts of groups. Remember, when playing large handfuls, count carefully when you're figuring out how many, and keep track of your pieces so you don't skip any or count twice. And when you're counting by 2s, 5s, or 10s, it helps to organize your cubes so they match what you're counting by. So here, a group of 10, a group of 10, and also don't forget your leftovers when you're counting. Thank you for following along. I hope you enjoyed playing large handfuls. If you have any questions or for additional support, please check out the resources page seen here.